the objectives of this training are that you are successfully able to give the Turning Blue awareness training. So you know the ins and outs of the Turning Blue awareness training, and you feel confident, maybe with some studying, to perform this training, to conduct this training. So I already said that, ProC, Maritime Education Foundation, this is the sectors that we train. And by training them, we also figure out a lot of information about them. So we've gotten quite knowledgeable on these different sectors, at least in the Netherlands. So there will be examples in this training, and most of them are Dutch. And that's because I don't know how this is arranged in your country. If I do know, I will try to tell you. If I don't know, it's not there. And this is a very big part on this training, on developing this training. You need to figure out this information. So I will also address it when there is a specific Dutch example. I will say this is something that is interesting for the youngsters to know. So try to figure this out in your country. How is this arranged? So the maritime sector, very important. Some say that shipping is essential to the world's economy, and shipping is the cleanest form of transport that we have. Who agrees with these two statements? Or who doesn't? So this is to tease you to come with answers, so it's not necessarily right what's on the board. But you think the second one is wrong. Shipping is the cleanest mode of transport, you think it's wrong. People that agree with that. Monique agrees with that, you agree with that? So it's not necessarily, it's not true. Yeah, not true, not true. Okay, and why is this not true? Because planes exist? Okay. And what makes them cleaner? How are they cleaner?
It takes less time to transfer. Okay, you cannot transfer that much.
Yeah.
But again, you don't have pollution from the crew and
okay.
from the sea. Which okay, you have gas clean. Also the accidents.
Accidents, okay.
And when planes are really uncommon.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I can transport things without an engine, but it's really inefficient. But in terms of the cleanest mode, I can carry things or put them in a bag on my bicycle.
Yeah.
Probably cleaner, but I can only carry 20 kilos.
So that is what we try to get out of the group with this statement. It is the cleanest form of transport in a way that it is the most efficient in transporting amount of tons. A lot of products go with one ship. So if you look at the CO2 footprint of a product that's gone with a ship, it's much lower than, for instance, an airplane. But if we look at one ship on itself, is it a clean form of transport? If we compare it to a bike, no, definitely not. Because there's definitely things that can still be cleaner about it. Essential to the world's economy? Anyone has to say something about that? All agree or disagree? All agree. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we would have had the world we have today without shipping. Shipping has made everything we do today, I think, possible. So I said that we give training on sustainability in this maritime sector. And what we start with is to get everyone on the same line on what sustainability means. Because you hear a lot about sustainability, sustainable development, sustainable goals. But what does it mean? So I want all of you to have some paper. In some of the folders there is some papers, but otherwise we have some. And I want you to write down what sustainability means to you. So there's no right or wrong answer here. It's just, what does it mean to you? What do you think sustainability means? And if it's easier, you can write it in your own language and we can translate it. Yes, we have pens. Yeah. Yes. Okay, it doesn't have to be a long answer, doesn't have to be right, just what you think it means. When you're done, you can give them to us. I see whole booklets being written. Not necessary, just first thing that comes to mind. No right or wrong.
Do we write that, right?
No, not necessary. Just. Yes, thank you. Done? Okay. Good. It's okay. It's okay. It's not that important. First word that comes to mind is perfect. No. Generation. Okay. Yes.
It's an activity of human beings which doesn't pollute or harm the earth.
Yes. Ja. Ja? Recycle, ja, die mag ook wel daar, denk ik bij. Green farming, green tap. Okay, so I see a lot of answers. Some people are still writing. A lot of answers are about polluting the earth, polluting nature, or not polluting nature is sustainability. Anyone who wrote something like this down? Sustainability is not polluting the earth. Or who wants to say something about that? Why is that sustainability to you? Max, what did you write down? And
I wrote down the donut economy. I don't know if you all are familiar with this term, donut economy.
No.
It's a donut, so it's two circles, an inner circle and an outer circle, and the inner circle reflects the impact that something has to have to succeed. For example, if we take food, we need food to provide for, and that's the inner circle. Then there is the outer circle. The outer circle is called the ecological ceiling. So the upper layer of this specific sector, and if it's above this so this sector has enough impact or what it needs to be, and this stays inside this ecological system so it doesn't damage too much.
Okay.
So if you say, is it for you no pollution? No, because then it stays under this social impact circle.
Yeah. Okay. So, bit of a complicated and full answer, but I'll get back to that in a bit. I also saw a lot of answers about making sure that future generations, our descendants, have also an earth to live on. Anyone who wrote something like that down and wants to say something about it? Yeah.
The world for future generations in terms of pollution and ecology and sustainability. I think it's that.
Okay. So it's a bit about the earth, but it's also about the people on the earth, that we still have something in our next generation. Yeah. Okay. I see a whole booklet being written here. Don't have to write it from the internet, because the internet's not going to give you the right answer. Because I'm wondering to what you know, what you think about sustainability. There's also some things about economics on there. Anyone who wrote something about economics and wants to say why that's sustainability? Or
specifically economics, it's people, planet, profit. Sustainability has three parts. I will give an opinion.
oh, thank you. So what I notice from this exercise is that we're in this room with a lot of people who I think have a lot of knowledge all together, and still we're not sure on what sustainability means, at least not of each other. So we don't have a common idea of sustainability. We all think it has something to do with the earth and maybe preserving the earth, not hurting the earth, not polluting it. It has something to do with being able to live here and also meet our requirements. But it's really hard to figure out if it doesn't have a clear and concise idea. Like, if I say this is a chair, we all know it's a chair. We agree that it's a chair. But sustainability is much more fake than that. And that makes it really difficult to talk about it. Because sustainability to me might mean something very different than it means to you. And to be able to talk about it and to be able to have a good conversation about it, you first need to establish what it is and make a common language about it. So that's what we're going to do. Sustainability, the word first came from this lady, Miss Brundtland, in 1987, so a pretty long time ago already. And she wrote a report about sustainable development. Well, it was still quite vague, because she said sustainable development means meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. That is the definition of sustainability. Difficult to deal with. If you give this to a company and say, you have to do this, then the company will be like, where am I going to start? How am I going to do this? So we came with the Sustainable Development Goals. 17 goals where we want to meet certain criteria for every human being on this earth to meet their needs. And these Sustainable Development Goals can be produced in this pie donut-like thing that Max talked about. But I think the inner ring is what you didn't talk about. And that is, as soon as we have like the basic needs in life, like food, and we can think about the earth, we can start thinking about how to preserve, how to help, how to heal, we can also think about the money. But the money comes in last. Well, for a lot of people, comes in first. So this is how the pie works, and I won't go into all the details because it's quite complicated, but if you want to know more about sustainability and the ideas behind it, this is how the Sustainable Development Goal donut pie works. I think I'm going to do a little bit of... Adapting? Okay, there we go. So why do we talk about sustainability, and also for a long time? It's because we have changed. We used to be gatherers. We used to find enough food in our surroundings for the people that we were with. And at some point, that changed. We started settling down. We started creating cities. We started to keep animals so we could eat them when they were fully grown. And even that was not enough. So we went to sea. We went to find new territories, new food sources, new routes around the world. And all of this led to harbors looking like this nowadays. And shipping being the most efficient form of transport, because it can take so many containers all around the world. And that means if I want to eat pineapple tomorrow in the Netherlands, where we really don't grow any pineapples, I can, because everything is there. I can get whatever I want, whenever I want it. And this is how the world has changed. But that doesn't go without its results. If we look at how the infrastructure was looking years ago, this is the Port of Rotterdam in the 50s. It's a great picture, but it was also a gray area to be, a lot of smoke. If we look at the Port of Rotterdam now, it's more like this. I hope the sound is on. I'll do that later. So a lot changed. And it's not every port around the world, of course. This is one of the biggest that there is. But you see a lot of technologies and a lot of revolution compared to the 50s. And we have become quite powerful as human beings on this world. If we want to keep the water away, we can. If we want to have an airport, but we don't have any space on land, we can build one in sea. If we want to dig a tunnel or drill one through a mountain, we can. And we can literally transport everything all around the world. What do you think of this?
That's a philosophical question.
Yeah, it is. It is. What do you think of this?
Great power.
What do you feel?
Great responsibility.
With great power comes great responsibility, okay? So why? Why?
Because someone, if they don't care, they can do whatever they want. They have the power.
Okay, so you can misuse power. But if you use it for these things, is that in its essence a bad thing?
It depends. If there was a coral bay under the airport,
Yeah.
I can imagine the fish be happy about that.
Okay.
If you're drilling, there's something on the mountain that is not very common, like a bird or something, they won't like it.
Exactly. So what happens is we do one activity, but with that we create effects that we might not have intended to. So when we start sailing all over the world, we create effects that we might not intend to create. I don't know how many people came by plane here. I think almost all. Yeah. Did you get on a plane and be like, oh, now I'm going to put some CO2 in the air. Let's go. Was that your intention? No. Anyone's intention here? No. But you did it anyway. It was a side effect of you wanting to be here, wanting to be present during this training, and wanting to be on time, most likely, because it takes you a long time with the train, at least for us. It's not doable. So we do these things, and we have these effects. And we call them our price tag that nature pays. So effects that we don't intend, but that nature pays anyway for us. And sustainability is making sure that these price tags are lower or non-existent if you can. And this results in all these challenges that we see. So acid rain, ozone depletion, extinction of species, climate change, introduction of invasive species, and garbage everywhere. We're going to talk about a lot of these. And it has become a bigger problem because we are with more. And we are still expected to rise, to grow as a species. At some point it will flatten out, but we're not there yet. So it will be even more people. And they all want the same things, and they all want to be on time. And they all get in their cars to be on time at their work because they want to earn money, because they want to provide food. So very natural that we all want this. But we all pay that, or nature pays that price tag for all of us. So we need to think about it. And we see the change already. There's a lot of times we talk about this, people say, well, I won't face it in my lifetime. Yeah, you can think that. But if you look around, you do see the change. The change is already happening. But we're also creating more technology and more IDs, so there might also be ways to stop it. Sustainable development is quite difficult, and that's because all these processes, all these challenges that I talked about, they take a long time. So their impact is a long time, but their solution also takes a long time and dedication to solve. And often if we look at processes in businesses or in political systems, it doesn't take a long time. I don't know, what is the general time a political system stays in power? Portugal? 4 years? Okay, Netherlands also 4 years. Romania? 5? Okay. So Italy? 5? Okay. What do I have left? Cyprus? 5 as well? Okay. So 4 or 5 years. Does that happen often? Do they stay in place for 5 years? No, I see a lot of no's. Okay, so similar as in the Netherlands. So people come into these places of power and they start thinking right away how they can get into that place of power for the next 5 years or 4. So they're already thinking 5 years ahead. And often it's not very sexy or selling or powerful to talk about things that take 30 years or 40 years. You have to bring results to the table now. It's important. So these processes often don't get much attention. If we look at a business, what numbers are important in a business? In terms of money, what do we look at? What are the numbers?
Cost.
Profit, yeah? Over what time frame? Oh, you have a very long-term thinking company then.
First 2 years, so you expect to go under.
A year or?
Or 3 months if you're on.
Yeah, quarterly numbers. Quarterly numbers are important. So then you have a very short period of time that you're looking at. Even a year is also very short. Because how long do the processes of nature take? Generally. I see hands going. So hundreds of years, 50, 100, yeah, maybe even more. Yeah. So you need long-term thinking to solve this. So that's not how we're organized. It's not how we're structured right now. So there needs to be change. And Cor already said it, but what a lot of companies do, what a lot of governance do, and what we also use is the 3 Ps. Because if you score a good enough grade on all 3 of them, then you are sustainable. But do you score lowly on one of them, you're not sustainable. I used to work for a volunteering organization before I came and worked at ProC, and they couldn't pay me because we didn't have a business model. We didn't have the profit. And the profit is not a sexy word in a volunteering world, because you do something because you feel motivated and it's intrinsical. But we can't stay afloat if there's no money. It's not sustainable if there's no money. So you need all three of them. You need to get a high grade, or at least a 6 for all three of them, when 10 is highest. I need to say this because some countries use a different grading system. So people, planet, profit. And this, in terms of the maritime sector, are often quite good at looking at their profit. Money, they understand. Some parts of the maritime sector are very much also involved in the planet. For instance, fisheries. If there's no fish, they have no money, so it's very much linked. And the people are more overlooked, but it's getting better, but they're more overlooked. Making sure that your crew is happy, make sure that you earn more money. But it's not only the people on board of a ship that you need to think about, because there's also something with opinions about your industry. And I think we might have to deal with that a little bit more in this room. But that also, you have to think about that. As a company, you have to think about how society sees you, because society can have an impact on you. So you need to be aware. And we see that in most sectors, but especially in the maritime sector, a lot changes when something bad happens or when a challenge arises. So, for instance, we have air pollution like sulfur oxide or nitrogen oxide. Those are forms of air pollution. We don't want them. They create all these problems for us. So we don't want them. We start thinking about how can it be different. That's where the 3 Ps come in. That's where we think about sustainability. How can we do this differently in a sustainable way? And that's how innovations come forward and change in shipping and fishing arise. And this is something that keeps on going. Every day a new thing arises that you have to solve. So sustainability is not a one-time thing. You have to keep on going through it. So if we look at the maritime sector, there's 3 things that help this sector be more sustainable, get to sustainability. And that's regulations. I've shown here MARPOL. Anyone familiar with MARPOL? Any idea what it is? I know at least 2 people who are. But this is the regulations on pollution in the maritime sector. So every seafarer has to know something about MARPOL. A lot of the times, this is a book, very thick book. It's a law, a book of law. And it's thrown on tables. Here, study. You need to know something about prevention of pollution. You saw it today in the basic safety training. Something about prevention of pollution. So you need to read MARPOL. And we come across a lot of people in this sector that have had only that. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not very good at law. She is. She's the only one at our company that is. But it's difficult to read. It's boring to read. For me, it goes in one ear and goes out the other. So if I read this book, which I've tried to, but I've come through half of it and then stopped every time, I don't get the urge to protect nature. I don't get the urge to do differently. I see, okay, if I don't do it differently, it might cost me. I get a fine because I'm not following the rules. But it is not a motivation. And it's not an understanding of what is actually going on. But I think rules are very important because they are the starting point. They make people think, okay, I now really have to do something. How am I going to do it? Often not very known. For that, you need techniques, procedures. You need machines and innovations that can help you be more sustainable. Stop polluting the nitrogen oxide and the sulfur oxide. And you need people on board of these ships that know how they can prevent pollution and why they are preventing pollution. Because if they don't know the how or the why, they will not do it. And they will get fines, and they will not understand why they get fines, and they get angry about getting fines for something that they don't understand. And you get a very agitated sector that doesn't change. So you need to reach these people and change them. Make sure they understand and they can take the power that they actually have on board of ships and change. So, I'm very curious to your opinions. So we're going to give you a big sheet of paper, and there's also some markers on your table. So in a group, you are going to write down what you think are the 5 most important challenges to the maritime sector. So, sustainability challenges to the maritime sector. What do we have to deal with if we talk about sustainability? Write it down in the top 5. So 1 is the most important, 5 is the least important, and also know why you think this. So I don't want to hear solutions. I want to hear challenges, problems. What do we need to solve? But not how are we going to solve it. Five. Yeah. Okay. It is big, yeah.
E prendono tutto quello che c'è. Quindi non hanno 22 costruzioni.
So the problem is it's hard to change mindset. People.
Marple.
Put it on 2, maybe something more important.
MARPOL, yeah, Maritime Pollution Act. The Maritime Pollution Act. Ik denk dat dit wel aardig snel kan. Ja. We hebben geen plakband, maar ze moeten maar vasthouden. Heb jij geen... Wij moeten wisselen, zeker?
Nee, is voor mij mee, maar ik zei sowieso nog een pauze tussen. Dus dan kan hij dat dan pas maken.
Geen pauze, denk ik.
So if you force people, I think this is also a problem with law and rules that they are forced on the people. This is contained twice.
Plastic pollution is one of the precursors.
And this is specifically for the maritime sector, the sustainable pollution.
I think also growing cost. High growing cost.
We had problems throughout the beach also with the sea.
Not because they just like it to be cheaper, they feel like they're forced to do the cheaper solution.
Waste management.
Very close to our heart.
We can save it or something.
They want to get shower. They just do your job well.
I don't know if everybody signed. I don't know. There?
Take.
There?
Yeah, you have to sign. She's not here, Christina?
She's coming in the afternoon. She's the university.
Ah, okay. Then I think Angela is
Yeah, she's not.
not.
But the other Angela should be here.
Yeah, I think they signed.
Okay.
I should write my stuff down, right?
And I also have another list from the university. They asked us to sign it as well, if that's okay.
The mindset of people because they don't want to work.
So, 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes.
You can answer
Five, right?
5, yeah. We have an expert. You're all experts.
We are also the prevention of accidents.
5 minutes.
What was the main question again? I lost it.
Water are sustainability issues, challenges in the maritime sector? Top 5.
I think also what
If we change the why, it's hard to change the mindset of people.
I'm also thinking like maybe on a political level, so there needs to be more awareness of it.
tell me what you think. I think it's also a challenge to make it visible kind of thing.
Yeah? My voice is loud enough. Huh? My voice is loud enough.
Okay. Oh, die haar.
Ja, ik wil zo niet haar niet in. Volgens mij gaat dat best wel storen.
Ah, oké. Zo dan. Zo dan.
It's hard to attract a negative image. The rest of the people have an unattractive view of the sector. So it's hard to show what the sector already is. But
And for presenting, so everyone can see, it would be amazing if you at least like the 5 challenges, if you could write them on a paper in big.
and if you also like documentaries of David Attenborough making all these popping up the world and the fishers and the ships.
That's you.
Ships are the only reason that the sea is green. I think this story is widely spread. The fishermen need to look sometimes look at how their quotas go out and they can't afford
Eentje nog steeds. Oké, maak er even voor.
Oh, daar is nog een stukje, ik probeer nog een stukje. Ja, daar is nog een stukje.
It's going to be interesting holding it. Anyone is too clear? Yeah.
En dan moeten we nog
And this one also includes this one because she is a nice person. She's a nice person. And and that I also think that I think that what we already discussed, but that short-term perspective always wins on long term.
It's interesting because I really like the
mindset.
I really think that the profit, especially for the industry, for the companies, is like the most. I think they are always thinking in terms of money. Write your last thoughts down.
When I say last China, because we don't want to attract anything, so we can work on plan some here. Because it's just local industries. It's small, but you can have a keyboard, there's no keyboard, and mouse, and they can really talk. So,
Nee, jullie moeten vasthouden.
it was close, but
Um,
it's closer. See, if it's a secret, it's not enough.
nee, volgens mij hebben we geen tape. Volgens mij niet, nee.
I think you have to hold them all up with your group. Okay.
Just all come to the front and one each.
So,
Nicola,
yeah, you can decide. The whole group, one person,
no,
whatever you want. But you can
all three were
present fuels, they are in the danger of running out and also polluting. So it's
something that is under discussion all the time. Nicolas also mentioned that they were trying some
new energies and with gas or renewable energy on the vessel, or vessel from solar energy, which is at the beginning is not easy to do it. And for us, it's priority one because it's 24 hours. It cannot stop.
If you think about it, if that changed, the whole, not only company, the whole shipping sector will change. If we actually develop a fuel that will be used, then it will be as fast as the fuel that will change. Number two,
pollution and waste management.
Yeah, we have an example in Cyprus last month, and it actually happens almost every year, every summer. Ships are passing by, they're just throwing the waste in the deep sea, but they're coming to the beach, and for 2 weeks we couldn't go to the beach because of the waste. And actually, because they're in the deep sea, you cannot go after them, and you don't know which ship it is. So waste management is something that there are regulations, but you actually cannot enforce them. Okay.
Balancing profit and regulations.
Balancing profit, that was my idea. Because actually, yes, we have the regulation, we have the book, but the companies, they're for profit, so they need the higher profit. And what from my experience is that we want the highest profit, and we're touching the boundaries of the regulation. We don't want to go there, but we're touching it. So you have to balance it. That's why in the 90s you can see, especially in the States, quite a lot of pushing the regulation because it was more profitable to have the profit. They didn't care about the regulation, they could pay for that. So, yeah. Number four.
Prevention of accidents.
Yeah.
Containers.
For sure, that's yours.
Prevention of accidents.
Accidents.
Yeah, many times we saw on the TV or the social media that a vessel had an accident or a tanker, so all the fuels, let's say, are in the sea, or containers are falling in the sea. Many times we don't know what is it inside. Sometimes we wrote about it.
Restrictions because of political tension.
Yeah, that's the last one. That's the restrictions. If you learn from the news for the past, I think, year, the Houthis don't allow ships go through the Red Sea. That means that everything that is being transferred, it has to go around Africa. Now, we were the first port in EU through the Red Sea, but the last port, if it comes the other way around. So the prices went up, and imagine what's happening with all the shipping companies, the fuel, and everything. Not only us, Turkey has the same problem, Greece, all the area has the same problem. So through political tensions, which actually is not something a shipping company should think, because just passing by, it became a huge thing in the last year in the whole sector and the whole area of Northeast Europe has this huge problem. So that's another one.
We have also a sixth one, but we didn't write it.
Yeah, because you said 5.
Yes, right.
It's about the mental health of people working the vessels. Because they have a contract of 3 or 6 months. So being a ship for 6 months is not easy. That's why they pay a lot, and not so many people are going.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions?
No?
That's not.
Okay, then I want to ask the next group, because we don't have a lot of time today, if they have similar challenges on their paper, to not discuss them and only discuss the extra challenges.
Okay.
So,
We can do it. I think with a lot of conventions and standards and things that exist, they're all very good in kind of theory, but actually how to evaluate whether they're being implemented correctly is quite a challenge. Then we have climate change, and here we are thinking about rising sea levels, rising sea temperatures, and the impact that that can have in the maritime industry.
Then second we have speed of resource and upskilling demand. So we speak in Portugal, we have the just transition. So if you want people to maybe want to move away from oil and into renewable energy, but you also don't want people necessarily to lose their jobs and lose their source of income. So you know, help people reskill and upskill to different industries, and to do that at how fast we actually need to change.
We also thought about the human error and accidents that might happen on sea, everything that goes after.
This was what was mentioned before.
The last one, whether we have interagency and international collaboration. You know, the idea of all countries having, let's say, the same view and the same importance on sustainable development, and something that we feel now isn't as common, let's say, especially in recent elections, but this idea that all countries have to collaborate with this.
Oh, and the numbers are here. That's not the actual order. We heard them and then decided on them. So thank you. That's it. Okay.
No questions? Okay, so next group. Same idea. If the problem is already, or challenge is already called out, then leave it and only call out the rest. If we've already heard the challenge, well, then don't give a lot of attention. Let's put it like that.
We had a little bit of difficulty with the language because we don't understand each other so well. So we have only come up with the challenges, but not with the solutions to these challenges. So challenges are nets spoiling the bottom of the ocean. Another challenge is plastics that is in the water all the time. The third challenge is fishing species that are almost extinct and still trying to get them out of the water because you like to eat them. The fourth one is spoiling oil in the ocean, and the fifth one is rumors in the sea because of all the boats. It's quite basic, a bit different than the other solutions that we've heard. We were only focusing on what are the things that we should tackle for a sustainable ship capacity.
What's rumors in the States?
Yes,
Can you explain that?
Big ships make big rumors.
Noise.
Animals get scared.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and we have two more groups. You want to go? Show your parts?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, short-term perspective, long-term perspective. We already discussed it inside the presentation. Then, for the next one. What was it?
This is not the one.
Oh, yeah, we had an order, which is really important. It's always hard to change the mindset of people. And why is it hard to change the mindset of people? These are in the following topics. Because rules and laws sometimes are forced on people. And when things are forced, well, people don't like to change the thing when someone says you have to change. This is one part of why mindset is hard to change. Then the next one, not all people do their job for the greater good, but just for the money. And important to say, this is not a statement where we blame the people, because there can be various reasons. You can be very poor, you can be hungry, you can be grown up in poverty, so it's perfectly logical and not ethical and correct that you're doing it only for the money. The fact is, not all people work for the greater good.
And the last one.
And the last one from...
It's hard to show what the sector already did, and by so the image of the sector won't get better. So what we're trying to say here is that the ships are on the sea and nobody sees them. Especially fishing ships, they're on the sea, nobody sees them, nobody knows what they're doing. And then end of the week they come into the harbor and then they go home. But they already are doing good things to make it better for selective fishing and that kind of stuff. But when nobody knows what they are doing, the people say, yeah, fishermen, it's no good, like this and that. And they get the regulations. Okay, because you have to do this and that, and they're already doing, but they don't get the feedback that they are doing already good things. And that makes them get tired. Yeah? So it's more make it transparent what we are doing here. What is already happening and what is good. Yeah? Okay.
I actually have a question.
Okay.
About the fourth one, is wanting to, or doing something for the greater good, is that the only way to sustainability?
No.
Where are you putting those
What do you mean by it? Is it the only thing? No, of course not. But I think it's one of the topics.
Well, the thing is, it said to sustainability.
Oh.
Something to think about. I think it's a
Getting
very
really
big
personal
motivator.
now.
No, it's a very big motivator, especially when we talk about the maritime sector. Money is a motivator to be more sustainable. And we'll get back to that.
Okay.
I think I have one more group.
Yeah, well, profitable policies, maybe that's a bit what you already mentioned. You go in for the money and not for greater cause, whatever. Illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing. So that's not control. If you have a healthy stock of fishing, you can manage it. If you leave the capital in the sea and you only catch the interest, it's okay. You can fish forever. But if you can't control it, if something is not reported, you may be overfishing and deplete the stock, and you won't have the business. That's not very lasting.
And it's also that it's...
Yeah, it's one. It has another, not only environmental. IUU fishing is considered to be connected with very bad work and living conditions. Close to slavery, debt bonding, sometimes slavery, people kept at sea for more than 2 years. When they go to port, have to bring to another vessel, go out. And it's very hard to fight because often these are vessels that are very far from sea and hard to inspect because they're in international waters. So that's the other side of when we're talking about the human element, the people. IUU fishing is also a dangerous thing for that part of sustainability.
Connected to plastic soup? Yeah, because the plastic soup is not only about the sea, it's also that the rivers bring a lot of plastic to the sea, so it's not only about this special area, it's about the total world. How do we manage the plastic soup in all kinds of ways, in agriculture, but also in the
way people behave with all their plastic and their rubbish. Yeah.
I think this one was already mentioned, labor market shortage by you.
Yeah.
And
Tourism is a big one. We have these big flats, 3 flats, floating flats with thousands of people having vacation on seas, diving in a not responsible way, etc. So this gives a lot of damage in the maritime world and seas.
Yes. Do you want to go for this one? Because you explained so well.
That's okay. Renewable energy. In principle, you would say it's good. But when in our Western world we can change into alternative fuel, but we sail the world. And if the infrastructure is not available in other countries, we can't refuel. So we can't change that easily into renewable energy. Another thing of renewable energy is that the NIMBY idea. We want wind farms, but not in our backyards. So we put them at sea. And then in the sea, we have to change the route for merchant marine. And when we change the route of merchant marine, the fishing industry is not allowed to fish in wind farms, not in the routes where merchant marine is. So that's a challenge for the fishing industry as well. So it has different angles on renewable energy.